I know that I am sickeningly positive about Cheers. Generally, I have not a bad word to say about any episode, but Homicidal Ham is not an episode that I love. This is the fourth episode of the second season of Cheers, and in general, it's not a bad episode. There is one moment that I think, while I understand why it happened the way it did, I didn't really think it was a good idea, and I just didn't care for it, and I never have. You know, I've seen this episode several times, and it's not just that I was maybe not in the right mood for it, because, as I said, I've kind of had the same reaction every time. So I don't actually have too many thoughts, but I will say there is one moment that I love. But it is a big spoiler, so I'll discuss that. In fact, I'll just say spoilers from now. I don't really have that much to say, but just in case I give anything away, let's say that this is going to be a spoiler discussion. This narrative focuses on the character of Andy Schroeder, played by Derek McGrath, and I will say, brilliant performance of a very complex character. Credit where it's due, it's a very well written character. And while I don't like the character, and I'm pleased he's not a recurring character, it was okay. You know, I found the character quite fascinating. I don't have any issues with the character himself. The narrative should speak to me, because Diane has encouraged Andy to do a performance of Shakespeare's Othello. I like Shakespeare. I don't mind Othello. It's not my favourite Shakespeare, but certainly it's not bad. And yeah, that should really appeal to me. But I just feel like it was so slow. And there's the bit where Diane is delaying starting the production, and it's completely understandable why, and I get why they made this decision to show that Diane was apprehensive about him, you know, doing potentially murderous things to her. But I just felt like it went on for too long, and unusually for me, I felt the same as the other characters. Often when Diane goes off on one, the other characters are like, shut up, hurry it up, move along. But I'm normally, you know, enthused about what she has to say. But with this one, I definitely was wanting her to just hurry up. So, yeah, on the one hand, it made sense that she would act like that. But on the other hand, it wasn't entertaining to watch. The play itself was, we didn't get to see too much of it, but I think the pacing there was fine. We got to see a decent amount of it to get a general sense of what was happening. And then what Andy did to Diane, I thought played out quite well. That bit, I think from that point onwards, once the production actually started, it was quite interesting. But that is really the last 5 minutes of the episode. And up until that point, I just felt like not that much happened. However, and this is, as I said, a spoiler of something that happens. This bit I loved. So when Andy is trying to kill Diane, quite simply, Sam rushes to her aid, and then Norm and Cliff rush to get Andy. And this is a stark contrast to what happened at the beginning, where Carla had hold of Andy, and then Norm and Cliff stepped in when it was too late and Carla had things under control. But here, Diane was in danger, and potentially Sam was in danger as well, because he went up to them, and Norm and Cliff rushed in immediately. And Norm sat on Andy, which I thought was brilliant. So that bit I loved. And even Carla kind of approached Diane, and it was under the guise of making a witty remark to Sam. But the contact between Diane and Carla there was just a brief moment where we could see that actually deep down, Carla doesn't want Diane to be murdered. She may not love her, may not be her best friend, but that exchange there showed that she at the very least didn't wish for Diane to come to any serious harm. And I thought it was beautiful. So the last 5 minutes of this episode are actually really powerful and really great. But unfortunately, the other 15 or 17 minutes or whatever were just not that good and kind of boring and not interesting, but the journey was worth it for the destination. So in a way, I'm kind of relieved that there are episodes of Cheers that I don't love, because it helps me to see that I am, I do love the episodes because they're good and well constructed and well written. There are occasionally episodes where that's not the case, and I can judge it still subjectively, but I'd like to think that I have a tiny bit of objective judgment when it comes to Cheers. It's unlikely. I'm probably too biased. I love the show more than anything else. Even more than Frasier, which when I started watching Cheers, I thought, this can't be better than Frasier. No way. And then, well, it was. Love it. Don't love this episode specifically, but there are definitely some good moments.